So we know both world wars were just giant class wars that were fought due to the inequalities brought on by capitalism being introduced to Eastern Europe.
Aha! Ah, darling, no, you couldn't be further from the truth. It's time to play everyone's favourite game of Let's Educate the American in the room then, shall we? Because no, both world wars were not fought on the grounds of capitalism versus communism after communism was brought into Eastern Europe. Not in the slightest. What were they fought on? Simply imperialism. If you don't believe me, let me do a bit of an explanation in under a couple of minutes and hopefully you'll be able to understand it. So, let's start with the Great War. World War One. Now, all of the big superpowers in Europe, it's a bit of a bubbling mess at this point, right? They have been silently having an arms race for about 30 years, namely Russia, France, Germany, and Great Britain. But let's focus on Germany and Great Britain, right? Every time Germany would bring out one new ship, Great Britain, because we couldn't keep up with Jerry and his fabulous designs, we brought out two ships. And suddenly, all of the empires within Europe now have these giant armies, navies, some even having air forces, but no way of using them. But then, a Serbian decided to go and kill an Austrian Archduke, Franz Ferdinand. Don't get him confused with the rock and roll star. Very different person. Now, because it took Austria forever to then get mobilized and get into Serbia, this gave all of the other empires a beautiful opportunity to go, right, boys, time to pick sides. Because Austria went to war with Serbia, Germany then goes to war on behalf of Austria. Because Serbia is now being under attack by Austria and Germany, then Russia gets involved on Serbia's side. Because Germany's got involved, Great Britain gets involved, and also France. And then Italy and Greece decide to get involved because also they can expand their empires. The Ottomans think, well, hey, we can now get some authority now in Northern Africa and in Europe again. So everybody goes to war. We have the Great War. It was all imperialist. Now, because of World War I, we then had the fallout known as the Treaty of Versailles, which is essentially where Germany was made to feel that they were the sole result and blame for World War I happening, which is incredibly unfair. And many historians will tell you that the Treaty of Versailles was woefully painful for Germany. Then you add in the Wall Street crash. And then suddenly Germany just goes into a complete clusterfuck, which means the world's most famous failed Austrian artist can then rise to power, stating that Germany was not to blame for World War I and that he was going to rebuild Germany's empire. And then he did all of the incredibly nasty stuff behind it, but it was purely imperialistic. That's why he started with Czechoslovakia, then went into Poland, then took over the whole of Europe. But he didn't win, did he? No, because we then went to war with him, and we did it at the expense of our own empire. The Great British Empire, the largest empire to have ever existed, was completely decimated just so that we could win World War II. Get it? It's not communism versus capitalism. That came later with the Cold War. Please, darling, next time you come on social media, make sure you get your facts right. I mean, as much as it was amusing and entertaining to hear your side of the story, it was purely imperialistic. Nothing else.